This person was extremely violent. I cannot stress to you how violent they were. I was a kid when this happened. I didn't realize how absolutely brutal this murder was.
A horrific crime with plenty of unanswered questions. The murder remains unsolved 34 years later. After part one of our story on Janette Roberson aired last night, one of our viewers sent in a tip, which just goes to show you, as old as this case is, this is still a case that affects people in the Reed City area, throughout that area. Now we take a look at the explosion of new technology that's changing how these cases are solved, and the cold case detectives reviving the investigation in part two of our special report, Cold Case, the Janette Roberson Story.
Growing up, we were told that she was beaten in the face with concrete and killed. Years later, decided that it was time to look into it more, to find out what really happened to her. Started asking more questions.
But answers continue to elude Elena Cavender. Family rarely discuss the aunt she never knew, Janette, or the person who got away with taking her life.
You start looking at everybody. I'll tell you that, when you walk down the street, you're looking at people, wondering if that could be the person.
How anybody could do this to her is absolutely unreal to me. When I realized how brutal it was, then I wanted answers.
Janette's brutal end came in the basement of what is today Reed City Hardware back in 1983. The murderer walked up these stairs and into the open. Still, no witnesses, no concrete leads, and not a single suspect. We're about to start a walk for Janette, organized by the family, friends of Janette, friends of her kids. They've been doing this for the last 4 years. What they're looking for are tips.
Justice for Janette! Justice for Janette! Justice for Janette!
It's ironic that 30 years later, we're seeing more happening in this case in the last 4 years than we have ever. So I think we're doing something right. You know, I'm trying to bring attention to it, and I think there's a bigger need to see this solved now.
And now a potential breakthrough in the 34-year-old murder. A state police cold case task force promising a fresh look to figure out who killed Janette.
We want to provide some type of closure or justice for the victim, for their family, and also for the communities.
Detectives putting together binders full of background and ordering evidence collected at the time be resubmitted for new testing.
Clothing to items that may have been left behind by the person responsible. Is there evidence that has never been submitted to the lab before?
Just because the evidence is old doesn't mean it's not useful anymore.
We were given unprecedented access to the Michigan State Police Forensic Laboratory in Grayling for a look at the state-of-the-art technology that's solving other cases across the country.
The forensic science of 1983 is going to be totally different. I mean, it is completely now, and the speed at which it's growing, it's just, it just keeps changing.
One of the latest developments involves a simple swab test in what's known as contact DNA.
If someone were to grab onto that person and hang on to them, they tried to pull away or something and slid across them, there's a possibility that DNA cells from their hand could be left on the clothing. That wasn't even heard of. I don't think it was even thought of, you know, back in 1983.
More hope and an explosion of new capabilities in testing for trace evidence like hair, fibers, reliable DNA, pulling a suspect's fingerprint from virtually thin air, even the shoes that person may have been wearing. This technology could point the finger at a potential suspect and shine a light on the dusty, decades-old mystery.
We're all just looking for that one little thing that might just make or break this case.
There are still problems. In the wrong conditions, crucial DNA could break down. The evidence may never link police to a suspect.
Does it ever reach a point where you might feel as though the system has failed a family like this?
It weighs on you that you can't solve every case.
Hoping for tips from the public, a deathbed confession, even a simple change of heart.
The passage of time can both help you and hurt you. For obvious reasons, people's memory, fade as the years pass.
In life, we love you dearly. In death, we do the same.
Elena is now 4 years older than her Aunt Janette ever lived to be. She tells us the detectives, the science, make her an optimist for a chance at closure and justice.
We'll find you and we'll get you.
You need to pay for what you did. You need to pay for what you did to this woman.
Now, state police made it a point to tell me their investigation into Janette's murder hasn't officially started yet, but when it does, they will want the public's help. Even the smallest piece of information could make all the difference in solving this case.